Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdsplaining podcast. I'm your host, Eric Silva. With me as always, my co-host, Jose Romero.
What up? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, sir.
It's Thursday. Why not? It's got to be happy, right? Because tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday. We are both Omnicron free. That's a good reason to be happy.
That's true.
The whole world is getting sick or getting super sick, depending on your level of commitment to this pandemic. And for you and me, nothing, because we are so dedicated to the show that we stay indoors to watch so much. We can't even go outside. We don't have time for it.
I haven't seen sunlight in days.
See, it's like that's it. See, that's it. We get our food delivered. We're okay being indoors. We can play games and stream all the stuff. And I mean, it's fantastic. You know what? This is the way to live. I think this is the way to go.
We got HBO Max. So that's very exciting for those who have it. DC fans.
This was a good time for HBO Max fans.
It's a good time for HBO Max, and which is why we're going to have a new main course today, because our prior main course is not really worthy of main course at this time, and we'll get into that. But that being said,
difference of opinions, but we will speak.
Just saying, I think there's more of a main course at this point. You know what we're referring to, but we'll get to that.
In terms of quantity, you're right. Yeah. I'll give you that.
So, but yeah, we'll dive into that. But of course, little nuggets. Not a whole lot going on this week. It's kind of a light week.
No,
light week.
A light week. Yeah.
You mentioned COVID, so why not start there? Because COVID be damned. COVID is everywhere. COVID is coming back, and whatever. And it is what it is.
Worst reboot ever.
Yeah. That could be debate. We'll debate that. But yeah, it's like, here we go again. Well, we talked about last week. They pushed Morbius. Sony did.
Right.
Which was a wise decision given what was going on. I get it.
Sure.
So, but there are rumblings, and it's not a true confirmed story, but there are rumblings about the Mandalorian production being suspended for the time being due to COVID reasons. I guess that's what it is, which does make sense given the
Which is weird because most of the actors are wearing masks.
Yeah,
so you think,
clearly.
You think like that would be the safest production to do.
I don't know. Maybe it was Carl Weathers. He's maskless in the show.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Gina Carano came back and started tweeting.
Oh, this is worse. Super spreader events.
God damn her. But I mean, it's not a huge deal because this show I don't think was slated to come out to the end of the year, more than likely. I guess. I mean,
right. They'll probably push it back by a couple of weeks, if anything. It gives the VFX guys time to kind of catch up on stuff.
Right.
It's fine.
I mean, it may not even be delayed, but I mean, I don't know how long this is going to last. Again, if this is true, and it seems like it is, it's unconfirmed, so I don't want to put out there. But people start freaking out. Oh my God, nothing's been canceled. It's been delayed. It's too early. It's going to come out, 10 months from
November,
now,
December
of this
year.
It's
going to be a minute.
But there is, rumbling that there was an interview of the guy from one of the heads of WB saying, they've been talking about Batman being delayed. Mm-hmm. Nothing's been set in stone. Obviously, it's all to wait and see. But if something's going to be done, it's going to be done probably within the next couple weeks at best.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
You have to, because the movie comes out March 4th. So you probably want to make that announcement at least 2 weeks before, maybe longer. Morbius, they did it last week, and that's almost 4 weeks before.
Exactly.
Right, so it's going to be soon. If you don't do anything in the next couple of weeks, and we should be fine, which will be a huge... If this gets moved, man, it sucks, because this was Morbius is fine. Morbius was an appetizer, right?
It wasn't Spider-Man anticipation, but there's a lot of anticipation.
Oh, no, exactly. But this is the one that's really going to begin the year. Right? This is the first main course. Morbius was an appetizer, or was going to be now. But Batman is the one that's going to, okay, now let's get the year started. Because after that, then we got Doctor Strange and Thor and Shazam and et cetera, all the way down.
It's like 11 movies and then 20 TV shows.
Yeah,
there's a lot coming out. We're ready for that season to start.
Exactly.
We were.
Yeah. But hopefully, not a big deal. But again, the Batman thing, keep an eye on that, because if it is, it's going to be within a week or two at best. Probably beginning of February. If you don't hear shit by then, they're going to keep it where it's at, because obviously, cases increasing, yada. We all hear the news. We get it. So people stay home. I don't know. Do whatever. I don't know. At this point, whatever. It doesn't matter. A new variant comes out and
watch all the episodes of Nerdsplaining. So catch up all the stuff you missed out. Some of the interviews that we had with great people. You can watch all that, and then See,
Yeah,
it's all there.
a little Uber Eats, a little Nerdsplaining.
Oh, no, forget about it.
Come on, nothing better than
You,
that.
if you're in a state where weed is legal, then you really are set. Uber Eats, Nerdsplaining, and that. Oh, forget about it. Colorado, California,
Everybody
you're
wins.
enjoying yourself.
Everybody wins. The next one, this is an interesting one because we'll be talking about James Gunn momentarily. But James Gunn was obviously interviewing, probably promoting Peacemaker. And I guess he was asked about, this comes from Collider, their legit source, asked about future projects. And, he kept things kind of vague, but he did, lead on to him working on another TV project for DC. And he didn't quite give as much information, but he did confirm it was going to be a TV show. So this is obviously, I would assume it's going to be HBO Max, is what else would be. That's all be known, though. So that's good news, particularly if you watch Peacemaker and if you like the Suicide Squad. Of course we did. But I have no idea. I don't know if this is going to be another Suicide Squad related show or something completely different.
Unfortunately,
go ahead.
You got to think of it this way. Out of all the main characters that survived Suicide Squad, John Cena is the least famous. So it made sense that he would get a TV show because Idris Elba, unless it's Luther, he's not doing TV, and it's just it's just what it is. And what's her name who plays Harley Quinn? She's a bona fide actress,
right? Of course,
so you're not going to get her doing TV. Yeah. Even HBO Max, you're not going to get her doing any kind of TV, really.
I'd be surprised, but I mean, you never know. A lot of big names are doing TV these days. To be fair, but yeah, I would agree with you. Probably not. And I mean, Rat Girl wasn't going to be. She's not big enough to really have her own show, and King Shark, doubt it. But yeah, Peacemaker was the one to choose. But honestly, I know we talked about this before, but now what? I mean, I don't think it's made Suicide Squad. I don't think it is another character. I doubt it. I really do. Sure. But that being said,
all right.
What do you want James going to tackle here, man?
I think there's a character that's just weird enough for James Gunn to kind of dig his teeth into. And it's a character that they actually did on the Flash series on the CW called Ragman. Right. And essentially, he's like a superhero whose costume is like all tattered pieces of rag, or it looks like all a bunch of rags, and he's got a hooded cloak thing, and he looks really cool. And then he's like half crime fighter, half supernatural. And like the rags are like the souls of the people he's been like beaten, and so like that he's killed, they become part of him, so they give him super strength because you could like summon the powers of what he's gotten from people onto that. I'm hoping that because it's such a weird. I mean, James Gunn excels in weird, and obviously. So I'm thinking like I would want him to do weird stuff. So I would do like Ragman, the Creeper would be really cool. You ever watch that movie Nightworm with Jake Gyllenhaal where he played the paparazzi photographer who went crazy?
It wasn't Nightworm. It was
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. Yes, thank you. Yes,
Nightcrawler. The Creeper is sort of like that. It's like the Joker but good, and he has super strength and certain enhanced abilities, and he's called the Creeper. So I would give him the Creeper. I would give him Ragman. Obviously he's doing great with Vigilante. Maybe Vigilante will be a spin-off character from this. Who knows? I'm trying to think of like other weird characters that I think they would just James Gunn could just kind of go like deep into. I think Ragman and Creeper right now are like just off the top of my head would be like really fun to do because especially like both of them they're super powered, but they're so weird and they're so not popular that you can kind of like play around with like the origins and kind of put your own spin on it. And it's not like trying to change something about Superman where people just lose their minds. Right. You can kind of touch and go, I'm gonna massage it like this and I'm gonna do it like that, and then you have like a whole new version. Like, yeah, that's cool. I'll take that because that's better than we had before. Let's do that. So that Creeper or Ragman, those would be my two options.
So you don't think it's gonna be a known entity like
oh no I mean
maybe a Green Lantern. I'm just throwing it out there. Would you like to see him do something like that? Because that's the other show that they've hinted at releasing at some point on HBO
he's
Max.
Guardians of the Galaxy, he knows how to do space, so it works for him.
He can do anything. Let's make that clear. He can do
anything.
Right?
Obviously.
But I think he is suited more for the weird, right? But I mean,
let's see. Of main DC villains that he could do, who would I want him to do? You know what? I know they're doing the it'd be really cool that would incorporate his sci-fi leanings, but with his weird but also like it would make total sense wise. There's a character called Booster Gold. And if you watch the Justice League animated cartoons, you've probably seen him once or twice. Booster Gold was a guy from the future who came back into the past because he was like a football player or something in the future, but it didn't work out for him. So he came to the past bringing all the tech from the future, and he was like, I'm going to be a superhero. And then he sold out to all the corporations. So he has like patches of like all the companies he's representing, and he knows what's going to happen, how it's going to play out. So that's how he fights crime. But then he realized that he's changing the timeline. And the best spin they did on the character was they made him friends with Blue Beetle, and they would just like fuck around, and like they were essentially like the screw up superhero buddy cop thing. It was great. It was really funny. But later on, when they tried to give him a more super heroic spin, they said that he needed to, because of him, all the stuff he had done in the past, because he was from the future, he needed to correct the time anomalies that he had been creating from just being in the past. But no one would ever know that he was responsible for saving the universe from these time anomalies. So you're taking the most egocentric superhero in the world and making him become a hero behind the scenes where no one values him. Everyone thinks he's a fuck up, but he's actually saving the universe behind the scenes, fixing time anomalies. So Booster Gold, I would actually really be interested in seeing James Gunn's take on Booster Gold.
You mentioned Blue Beetle, which is obviously we know that's coming out.
I know.
I think it's HBO Max.
But his Blue Beetle was Ted Kord, the guy before Jamie Reyes became Blue Beetle.
I'm sure they can blend it in.
But I feel like there's a way. That's what I started thinking about, because Blue Beetle's going to be on HBO Max. You have Booster Gold. You kind of have that. It'd be very easy to kind of segue and merge both properties together. So I would go for Booster Gold.
I hope they announce that soon, because I'm very curious what he's up to now. So far, I think he's hit it big with DC as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he hit it big with Marvel, but they screwed up because they got sand in their vaginas, and so in DC was like, we'll show you how we don't give a shit. Make us money.
Like I said before, I think his sensibilities are more towards DC because he can do what he wants. And,
absolutely.
And, we know what. Yeah, and listen, he can do Marvel stuff. And he's done, Guardians, of course.
Obviously,
but I think his hands are more tied with Marvel because you have to follow a certain template, so to speak.
Sure.
In DC, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, right? And get
whatever
nutty and crazy. He's got that humor, dark hints. So I think it's great for DC. He's doing both, so hey, everybody wins. But I'm kidding. I hope they announce it soon. I'm kind of curious to see exactly what he's doing, what he's up to. I'm not sure if he's producing, writing, directing. That I don't know. I know he's just involved in that next project for whatever that's worth.
I hope he at least he produces and at least writes.
Right, yeah. He doesn't have to
because
direct
it's got to have that signature on there.
It's got to have his flair. If he writes it, I'm okay. He doesn't have to direct it. I'm okay with that. It'd be nice if he did, obviously.
Sure.
Let's go to Marvel here. This is an interesting one because this I definitely want to get your take on. So there was an interview recently with Tessa Thompson, of course, played Valkyrie and the Marvel and Thor, etc., etc. So they were interviewing her, and I guess she talked about her new Valkyrie's apparent new abilities. They're going to be on display here, I would assume, in Love and Thunder and the upcoming.
Sure.
So she puts, she has weird skills, to be honest. She can sense when someone is close to death, and she takes them into Valhalla, which is essentially the afterlife. She can revive people, but when she revives people, sometimes she ends up in their body. It's a weird thing. It can be quite erotic. And then she has superhuman strength and is essentially God. That's a direct quote from her. So
so first of all, those are not new powers. Those are all the original powers she has in the comics.
I was going to ask you about if that's canon.
Yeah, those are all
new powers in terms of the cinematic universe. We haven't seen those kind of abilities.
In Norse mythology, that's what Valkyries did. Is when someone's close to death, she would come and take their soul and take it to Valhalla. Right, that was the whole thing. So her sensing someone's about to die and being able to heal them makes perfect sense, just extensions of abilities. She does have super strength. She's not as strong as Thor, but she has super strength. The going into people's bodies, that's new.
That's new?
That's it. That's a new twist. I'm pretty sure I've never seen her like be able to transfer herself in, like spirit-wise into someone's body. That's new. That being erotic is also new, but then if James Gunn said he did that, I was like, that's cool. Taika Waititi's doing it. I'm like, also cool.
No,
I have no problem with that.
that's great. I think it sounds interesting.
If you told me Ron Howard was doing that, I'm like, Ron Howard circa 80s or Ron Howard circa 1918? I mean, 2018. Oh, 2018. No, sorry. Ron, you're not qualified for this project. I love you. I think what you did was great, but you're like Spielberg. You're kind of coasting on what you did, and you haven't done anything new, and that's okay because
you're right. He's the greatest
putting your time.
He's the greatest of all time. He's putting the effort and the work. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think after recently after Arrested Development, you should take a rest. Take a rest. You did what you were supposed to do. You did it well.
Yeah.
Don't take it. And I stand up for you for Solo. I like the movie. Well, it was fine. It was a good fine movie, but this type of move, it's got to be a very specific kind of director's got to take it. And if it's not Taika and it's not Gunn,
like a Taika thing. It really does. Yeah. If anybody can make it work, I think he can. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, maybe because I know Jane's coming back, and I know in the comics she had cancer, and I guess she ended up with the powers, whatever. Maybe she's close to death, and here comes Tessa Thompson.
That might be. I mean, there's a connection
right,
point
she
there.
enters the body, and that's the whole erotic thing. And that can be kind of funny, right? We can see that kind of all in me kind of stuff with her.
She could be in that body feeling the sensations that Jane feels for Thor and want to make out with him and stuff like that.
Right, and the conflict, and which is
exactly because it's not her feelings, but this body has these feelings.
Right, the urges or whatever. So that could be that could be funny. That could be interesting.
Did we just crack the code here? What's going to happen? She's going to sense Jane Foster dying of cancer. Try to heal her. Her spirit goes back inside. She's inside James Foster. She feels attracted. Like, I don't want to kiss you, but I do. And
right.
I mean,
I think I can't think.
Lock this episode in. Jose, lock it in.
I think we may have
potential spoilers for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Unbeknownst to us, we're just speculating here, but me,
I think we got it. I think we got it. I think it's a solid one.
I think it's a good one, right? I think it's a good thing. I think it makes sense. I mean, obviously, it can go 1,000 directions, but I think that would kind of as I reintroduce Jane and whatever. And how does she get the powers in the comics? As far as
in the comics, she's going through cancer, and she finds Thor's. I'm trying to remember because so it happened in a storyline called Fear Itself, where Nick Fury, the white Nick Fury, becomes the new version of the Watcher, and he whispers something to Thor, and he says to Thor that gods are fallible, and that realization makes Thor question his worthiness, and he becomes unworthy to hold the hammer. And so while Jane Foster is going through chemo, that you don't see it happen too much later on, but what essentially is the hammer comes to her possession. She picks it up, and because she's worthy, she becomes Thor, and she's Thor. But when she goes back to Jane Foster, the transforming into Thor cleans her body from all the chemo treatments, so her cancer is fresh.
Okay. Huh.
So essentially, she can keep going through chemo trying to fight the cancer. But when she turns into Thor, she needs to save people. When she comes back, there's no more chemo in her body.
Oh, so she,
and so so it's literally killing her to be Thor. But while she's Thor, she is Thor.
Interesting.
And so it's just a really cool dynamic of like character responsibility and like going above yourself to be. I mean, Jason Aaron is a great writer for a tremendous number of reasons. That Jane Foster, his entire Thor run was amazing, but that phase of it when he was writing Jane Foster Thor was honestly one of the highlights. It was really, really well done.
All right. Well, we gotta mark this down. So now I'm really curious if that's what actually happens because it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. That makes sense, and that's a good way to introduce Jane and her sickness. And I get it. So, okay, why not? I think Tessa Thompson's still on Earth, so she would be able to feel.
The beginning she's a doorway, right? That's where
right. Yeah, they built a new community, so it makes sense that she could feel her. She's close by. I mean, I don't know what their range is with their senses and that, but it makes sense nonetheless. So those are nuggets, man. That's what we got this week.
All right. Okay.
Now we have our two main course here. I guess I don't know, 1.5.
You
I'll do 1.5.
We can call it a sample platter. There's a bunch of little things.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. Which is fine. So. That being said, Boba Fett, the book of
Boba Fett,
kind of the book. I don't know. Again, pamphlet Boba Fett at this point. And we talked about, last week where obviously the first one it was fine, right? It wasn't a great episode.
It was fine. It was like a 6.5.
Right, it was whatever.
7 around
It was
there.
passable.
Where depending, right, passable.
Right, second was better, not great, but it was better. I was like, okay, and then we talked about joking about how I hope this doesn't become a original cast Star Trek movie thing where the odd ones suck and the good good ones are the even ones, because that leaves the odd number for the finale, which I'm concerned about. We're gonna see how this goes, and so here comes our third episode, and now I'm worried about the finale.
See, I actually feel reassured about the finale now.
Oh,
See, I'm like this because we have different takes in it. So you tell me, what did you think of episode 3? What did you think?
Man, it was not very good, to be honest with you, and it's surprising because again, this went back to Robert Rodriguez, and again we talked about he's not almost an accomplished filmmaker. It might be a stretch, but he's a known.
No, he is. I mean, he's done a lot of stuff.
I mean, it's very niche what he does, but he does it well, right? Desperado, Mariachi, whatever.
The Sin City movies.
City,
I mean,
right.
all that. You got the Grindhouse movies that he did. They're great. Dust Till Dawn. Those are all great movies.
He's done good stuff. He does good stuff. He's just not a very well-known director, and that's fine.
Right.
But nonetheless, he's an accomplished director. He should know what he's doing. I would assume that anyway. And the first, we talked about how we're disappointed what he gave us in the first one, right? We both agreed on that. This
very
one here,
much.
I mean, man, there's just issues everywhere. Some of it's the writing, so it's not on him. But I'm going to focus on one scene. This is kind of typifies what I'm talking about.
All right.
Not to jump ahead. Let's jump ahead. Fuck it, whatever. That chase scene.
Everyone has a problem with this chase scene, apparently.
Bad. I mean, it was... And again, if it was like a first-time director, okay, fine. But he's done action scenes and done them well on many occasions, right? His editing is great, his energy. Oh, this one, dude, it's supposed to be going really fast, and it felt so slow.
Everyone said, okay, so let me.
And the CG was awful. Second.
Okay, so I feel like you're not. I feel a lot of people, not just you, but I feel a lot of people are having this problem.
This has been a big complaint, yeah.
Okay, it's been a big complaint. I see it like this. First of all, you look at the fact that they're trying to do a high-speed chase in a small desert town, so you're not going to be able to really go. It's not Phantom. It's not a Attack of the Clones where they are and these massive skyscrapers and everything zooming in. It's not that. I mean, you can only go so fast in these things. So I give a little bit of leeway. Secondly, to make something look really cool, where it's like really fast and intense, you need a very specific budget to pull that off. We're talking Fast and Furious movies. We're talking Ronin.
Not necessarily. The train scene was a scene which showed speed to some degree, right? And you felt it.
Right.
And that was just an episode with a less accomplished
straight line.
director.
It was also just a straight line.
I mean, Robert Rodriguez can make it where he made Mariachi for like 10 G's and he made it look great and exciting.
Right. So I think what happens is I was actually watching Fat Man Beyond, and Kevin Smith was interviewing one of the guys who works on Boba Fett, who was like his assistant director on Clerks. And from there, he's been working on bigger and better things. He's now working with Star Wars, and he did Mandalorian. I was working with Book of Boba, and they were talking about how is it working with Robert Rodriguez. And he mentioned that Robert Rodriguez, everyone's there is like, we're here to fulfill we were here to fulfill Star Wars. Like when we go into a project or an episode, we're like, how would George do it? And then we build from there. And then he says, and then working with Robert Rodriguez, we also have notes of like, I want to use some of my designed effects. I want to use some of my design shots because I want to put my, signature on this. I don't want to just make it straight like George. I'm here for a reason. That's the kind of stuff. If you have watched any of his Spy Kids movies, because I have children, so I've watched those movies.
I've seen the first one.
There's a lot of his technical fingertips on how he did Spy Kids with this, because, and we know this, these episodes have a certain amount of budget that they can do. Some episodes they can do bigger things, and the sacrifices that some of the other episodes they got to make it smaller. And I feel like they wanted to do, after the big train chase scene, they wanted to do this car chase scene, but like we don't have the budget for that. We just this massive car chase, the train chase scene. And he goes, I happen to know how to do this on the cheap. Let's do it like this, and I'll let you use my tech. So they're clearly using a lot of the stuff that he learned and figured out to do on Spy Kids onto the Star Wars thing. Was it perfect? No, not in the. Was it fun? Yes, and I'll tell you why. My 8-year son and my 12-year daughter are watching this going, wow! And I'm like, you know what?
Well, see, that's the problem right there. Those words were exactly the problem with the scene, right? Because this show, it should not be made for kids. It should be kid friendly, not made for kids. This scene, it seemed like it was from Phantom Menace, and that's not a compliment in any stretch.
Understood.
So I'm saying,
took
listen,
that as
like
offense, not as a compliment.
you design a scene to make it kids are gonna like it, whether it's kiddie or not, right? That's the beauty of Star Wars in terms of what they present, right?
Right.
It's intense actions, lightsabers and stuff. It's intense. It's got weight, but kids will still like it, right? We did. So you can't make this not for like 8-year-olds, but then for the 15, 20-year-olds and make it good. This is why I'm saying this is a consensus.
I mean, look, Mando knocks it out of the park every time.
Right. So we know we've seen what good stuff is. Rich Robert Rodriguez even did good on when he directed the episode.
Right.
So something this is just
what I'm saying is, I think what they're doing is it was a budgetary constraint issue, which is like when Mando does it.
An accomplished director would know how to give it the film, the speed, just by virtue of editing and other techniques, not just a CGI. CGI could have been 100%. It could have been the best CGI ever. The scene still would have been awful. It just was made worse because of bad CGI, because it felt really slow and dopey, and it didn't work. So that's what I'm saying. CGI looks fine. I get it. The budget is what it is. That's just icing on the shitty cake.
I liked what they were trying to go for. Like okay, so he's on a speeder bike and I was going sideways on the wall and it comes down and she goes on. Like I like the idea.
That was cool, but again, the execution is. It just felt like she was like. Like people I feel like people were just walking next to him as a slow. It felt that way.
The only time that you felt they tried to give you the emphasis of speed is when she pulled on and the camera like zoomed up in front of her like that, and you're like, oh, so that was one time I was like, oh, now you're trying to make it look fast. But there was a lot of times.
I didn't feel like it feel a little slow again. But chasing's always cool, right? And speed up, right.
Always. I mean, it's supposed to. Chasing's always supposed to be cool.
That's just weird. It's just really not a good scene at all.
I will say, juxtapose that with Black Chrysanthemum's assassination attempt on Boba Fett. That whole thing played out great. I really enjoyed that whole dynamic.
I didn't mind. Yeah, I didn't mind as much.
Did he complain about that one? I didn't hear it.
And I've heard a lot of complaints. It's funny because on the first episode, when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, it was alright at best. But then the more I sit on it, the more I'm like, dude, there's a lot of weird shit in this fucking episode, and it's not good. That was different. That's cool. See, I mean, he cracks his back and he's fine. I guess this guy's in. He's Boba Fett's inhuman. Fair enough. I'll buy it. Whatever. But how did this guy get in there? I don't think anybody can answer that question. This guy's like a 10-foot tall beast, and there's one door to get in.
I can answer that question.
And it's a big metal door.
He's a Wookiee super bounty hunter. He is Boba Fett before Boba Fett got old.
I'm not buying
like,
Fennec there. That's exactly. There's only one way into the establishment. It was a big one. It's lazy writing. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe
it's lazy.
Maybe there's someone in there that's working for the Pikes that allowed him to.
Perhaps,
at the end, we're still going through the process.
Do if they're saying, oh, they're already. That means they're working with the Hutts, which they're not, presumably. So why would they?
Fair.
Okay, well, they're gonna send a bounty hunter. Okay, well, then good luck. Well, we're gonna get involved, right? It doesn't make sense. So that was a weird thing. That's a huge complaint for me. The fight scene was cool. I didn't mind that. That was okay. I was fine. It's not great, but it was cool.
I thought
it was fine.
I'll tell you one of my favorite scenes. Besides Black Chrysanthemum, like knuckle buster, electric knuckle buster, backhanding Boba Fett across the room. I love the fact when Black Chrysanthemum is like slowly crushing Boba, and Boba's like hitting all the pressure points on his face. I was that was cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that
I've
was
never seen someone
cool
and then when he took a chunk, a bite chunk out of the Gamoran guards, I go, this is cool too. I liked all that kind of stuff. I thought that was a cool scene.
That's the least. I have no problem with that. I know a lot of people do. Whatever. I get it. It's not a great scene, but
I really enjoy that one. I don't know why we have I know why people have a problem with the speeder chase scene. I'm surprised people have a problem with that.
I've heard a lot.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, it is what it. the Vespas was funny as how I've heard people call the Vespas things as like, oh, it's like Luca. They just seem so like it's odd, man. It seems like it's from a different show or movie, and they just put it in the Star. It just didn't mesh well. The colors, it was so.
You know what? Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I'm biased because my kids liked it, but I happen to have liked that episode. Here's the thing: my kids also kind of liked first episode.
I have no problem with that. I mean, I can get it, right? Kids look at things different than we do, which is fine, right? But we're at a different place in our lives. We've seen so much shit.
And like I said, I feel like I'm biased because when they really like something, I think it rubs off on me. But like they liked episode 1. I thought episode 1 was okay. It didn't rub off on me, and we all thought episode 2 was great. And episode 3, I was it as good as episode 2? No, it's not clearly. But I thought I think it was better than episode 1. To be honest with you, I really thought it was better than episode 1 by a lot.
They can get this brand new Vespa bikes and implants. I'm sure that shit wasn't free, but they can't get a glass of water. That just didn't make any sense.
Not that they can. It's just too expensive. Like why?
It just didn't make sense. They have no money. They don't have jobs or money.
Time for water.
Right, but well,
make it affordable.
I find it hard to believe that the water costs more than the built-in. That's just what I'm saying. Or the bike. Right.
No, it's not. But like, if I got to spend $1,500 of water, I can't buy this cool cybernetic eye that costs $2,500.
It was just odd. And Boba Fett, come work for me. I don't know anything about you. I don't know who you are. You could be working for anybody. You come work for me. It's like, okay, Boba Fett he's like a dope, and it really is. They really undersell what we think we wanted from Boba Fett, right? He's a badass, right? And he's kind of like.
I will say, what I wanted. There was that first moment when he met them, and they started to like just kind of like not respect them. I was expecting to shoot one of them.
Not shoot him. They can use his staff and fuck him up, whatever, right? To like, oh shit, he's whatever, right? Just to kind of show him who's boss, right? Agreed. But as I'm saying, he just comes off like he's like. Okay, and then he's assassinated and he doesn't do anything. It's like, okay, it's just, I don't know. The man making Boba Fett, the lore, what we know of Boba Fett, right? And who he is, and he's supposed to be a badass, a bounty hunter. It's just, I don't know. It's just odd. It's just like his reactions are just, he's so tame and laid back. I don't know what the hell's going on with the character. And honestly, I don't even know what his motivations are. They haven't even, like why is he doing what he's doing? We don't even know yet. And it's been 3 episodes. Like, well, why is he there just took over from the. I don't know.
I will say, there was 3 things that I thought are gonna get us to the Boba Fett that we want, and I feel like I'm hoping this is my theory, is that just like in retrospect we can all look back at the Marvel home series of Spider-Man movies and realize, oh, all 3 of the Spider-Man movies was essentially just one big origin story to get Peter Parker to be the Spider-Man that we all know from the comic books. Like he's now that Spider-Man, right? So he's the guy who's struggling to pay for stuff. He's got that classic comic book Spider-Man costume, and he's just there, on his own, pushed everyone away because he knows this is the best thing to do to protect people. He's that Spider-Man now.
But the thing with Spider-Man is that
they're getting Boba back to. I mean, think about it. He's been sleeping in the Bacta tank, so he's not even back to his full 100% because he's sleeping there all the time, just trying to heal up. So something is wrong with him physically. They keep healing up consistently. So there's something there. And at the same time, I feel like when he was like there, everyone's looking at me. I have to respond. I got to do a thing. He's getting to that point to being the Boba that we all want him to be. And I feel like this is sort of showing him like trying to be a better version of himself. And much like in Godfather 3, every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. They're making him going to be the Boba that he doesn't want to be anymore for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of the time he spent with the Sand People. He's trying to be enlightened, and it's just not going to work out.
Established by now, after 3 episodes, right? It's character development is what this boils down to, and they're not doing that.
Right.
Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe that's the way it is, whatever. But then show us that progression, right? Why is he not the way we think he is? Maybe there is a reason for it. Fair enough, but then give us that information, right? Because we don't know what's going on. I don't, that's the problem with the show. What's going on here? I don't even know, right? So it's odd. It's just been an odd show. Look, it's an even one, so I'm looking forward to the next one. We know we're gonna get him on the rank, or he's gonna kick some ass, and that's gonna be great. All right, fun.
I mean, we all want to see him ride the rank. I will say this: were you surprised when he came back and he saw that his his tribe had
we
been
knew that was
wiped
coming.
out.
Really? Oh,
I didn't know. I thought that they were going to be ready as a
I had a
side
feeling
army.
that they're
I
going to
didn't know
get
they
wiped
were
out,
going to be
which
hurt
is,
that
I
fast.
mean, not as motivation for revenge, and I get that, right? But that's just now established.
Right.
They should have just led with that, to be honest with you, and shown us in that first episode. And the first episode should have been all in the past.
So
and
maybe
now he's on a mission, and he took the throne to get power, so he can fight these people. Now that makes sense, right? That would have made that. Now there's motivation of why he wants to be this Godfather figure, except he's just there for I don't know why exactly. That would have made a lot more sense. Just give us, like we said.
So let me ask you this: because we're showing, like, we're talking about what makes more sense and what's sufficient. Do you think that that biker gang is the people responsible, or do you think the Pikes are framing the biker gang when they wiped out
I don't want to see the biker gang because they're no threats. It has to be the Pikes. I mean, maybe they're using them, right?
It's gotta be Pikes. Yeah, that's what I figured too.
Which is why it's insane. They're weird to be there, but fine. I mean, whatever. It's gotta be. I mean, something else may change, but again, we're 3 episodes in, and we just gotta give us something, right? We don't even know who the true villain is by now. Right. We should have a little bit more than what they're giving us, and that's been a problem with the show.
Sure.
It's 30, 35, 33, 34 minutes, what it was, minus credits. Still short, whatever. It's just, like I said, I don't know. I had issues with it.
I was surprised. Because it was a shorter episode, I thought it was going to feel more like episode 1, and I thought it was closer to episode 2.
In some ways,
so I was actually impressed when we got the closer
visually, storytelling. I don't know, whatever. It's odd. So at least it didn't stay in the past too long, which is one of my bigger complaints, right?
Right.
Which is fine because it was enough for that. I mean,
right.
Yeah, because the first episode should have been
right.
All that storyline. He wants revenge and.
Well, but if we did that in the first episode, we wouldn't have that cool Vision Quest moment.
No, they could have done a lot. If it made a good hour episode, for Christ's sake, you could have put a lot in there, and then it dropped 2 episodes and give us now where's that now? But there's a ways you could have told that story differently. But
sure,
next episode is going to be good because it's the 4th one. Let's see if that continues. And again, I rather not see Robert Rodriguez do any more. I really don't. This is what it's going to give us.
Wow.
Because listen, and by far much less accomplished director did the second one, and I thought that was much superior, and the action was superior, right? It was, and the action was better. Even if the episode was terrible, at least the action scenes, which is the biggest complaint with Rodriguez, was good. It was cool. The train scene was great. So maybe it's not an odd number thing. Maybe it's just a Robert Rodriguez thing. I mean,
yeesh.
I don't know how many more he's doing. I didn't look it up. But I'm curious. I hope. I don't know.
Think he's doing most of the season.
I'll look into it, but I mean, I hope. Let's see. It would be funny to see that next one's good, and someone else directs it. And then if I see him doing 5th one, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So, whatever. Again, I'm not off the show. It's not horrible. I'm just kind of let down. It's underwhelming. I mean, we have to compare with Mandalorian. That's what we do. Right, we know. Right. So now, okay, we know what's good. We want that again, right? And this is a character which everybody wanted to see, everybody loves, and there's a lore behind it. So it's kind of a letdown thus far. But listen, next 4 episodes could be amazing. We're gonna get a Rancor fight. That's gonna get me excited. Right. So Machete's in there.
Obviously.
Who doesn't love Machete?
By the way. Look, they brought Danny Trejo in, and I'm like, anytime, I saw when I saw Danny Trejo, I felt the same way when I saw Cobb Vanth, saw Bill Burr. I was like, I want to get his action figure. That's already I already guaranteed I'm gonna get it.
We shouldn't be surprised because Danny Trejo and Robert Rodriguez, they do a lot of stuff together. So I should have expected that. I didn't even think about it when I saw him. I was like, okay, Machete, come on.
I was very excited about.
I hope he's more and more. I don't know, maybe. But that being said, so let's get to the main course, right? I think we both agree this is the main course for today. There's no question.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about energy and enthusiasm,
right.
This
Peacemaker
is clearly the main
finally
course.
Dropped this week, 3 episodes. See that? Thank you. 3 episodes.
3.
That's what. Come on.
Fuck you, everyone that only saw 2 episodes. We're doing 3.
Get us started, right? And then we'll do a weekly thing for the next 5 weeks, whatever it is. So this came out. Listen, obviously we know it's a sequel show based off the Suicide Squad, which we loved, right? James Gunn directed, I think, 2 out of the first 3 episodes of this, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, obviously, the sound of your voice, you enjoyed it, so I'll let you go take lead on this.
Dude, listen. Everything about the show is fucking fantastic. We talked about, will Peacemaker be the best DC show out there right now? The answer is a clear fucking hell
even
yeah.
Right now, more Doom
it
Patrol?
is more than Doom Patrol.
Wow.
I'm putting it out there.
Okay.
Everything about this, from the comedy to the fucking 80s hairband music to the violence, like I am so fucking in. You want to know why I'm so fucking in? I'll tell you why I'm so fucking in. There is a moment. Okay, so I'm going to go through the episodes just to get to this moment. Episode 1, they established that Peacemaker is healed up from what happened in Suicide Squad. He goes back to his house. You're seeing where he kind of lives in a trailer park. It is a shitty trailer park, that kind of thing. Shitty trailer park. He goes back to his dad to get a replacement helmet, and his dad looks like he's like an angry, racist old war vet, but he's got one of these. He is. You're right, but he has a trans-dimensional closet that he opens up, and it's this massive fuck off like
cool.
War
Unexpected.
room.
I'm like, whoa, okay, cool.
That was. That's like straight out of comic book or Harry Potter shit.
The
I was like, this is
T-1000
awesome.
moved up in the world.
And he had and he had like 6 or 10 different helmets they could pick from. Each one has a different additional superpower. All that was fantastic. And they explained they mentioned, but they don't explain that the main threat that they've acquired Peacemaker for is that he has to eliminate something called the butterflies, and that's all you know. And he ends up being attracted to the blonde girl who was in Suicide Squad. She was one of the operatives. He's attracted to her. She gets hit on by a bunch of redneck douchebags. She beats the shit out of one of them in one of the most fantastic ass whooping scenes. I mean, you want to talk about like difference of fighting? So like, we talked about like the problem with Boba Fett is that their fights seem very choreographed. This seems like efficient and brutal.
That's what,
that was like
so much better than everything we've seen. Not everything, but I'm saying in terms of it's something defined.
I mean, in terms of hand-to-hand combat, you're right. That was better than what we've seen in Boba Fett. And then she basically tells Peacemaker to fuck off because she's got her own issues. And Peacemaker is feeling really bummed out. And he turns, and there's some chick like just right out of an 80s White Snake video. And next you know, they're naked and he's banging her and he's screaming freedom while he comes. Like all that. I like the 12-year-old boy in me is like, yes, all of this forever. I'm so excited. And then she ends up revealing that she is a metahuman and beats the shit out of him. And a ragdoll ass whooping on a level I've not seen in quite some time. And then he puts on, in a last-ditch effort, he jumps out of her apartment building and runs naked to the car where he puts on his helmet and he says, Sonic Field, Sonic Scream. And basically a wave of sonic energy emits from all around him and blows this meta chick up like a water balloon. Cool.
Didn't expect that.
Then the second episode.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was great. That was all fantastic. By the way, I love the fact that he mentions that he has a sidekick pet called Eagly, the eagle. And when he sees him after being away for 4 years, the eagle hugs him. I mean, you've seen it in the trailer, but it was great to see the whole scene play out. It was, I think Eagly to me is quickly becoming my favorite character on the show, only because the intro to the show is so goddamn hysterical.
Yes,
where they're doing that dance number.
So good. Yeah.
That dance number is
so ridiculous,
so fucking good. And the best part about everything is when they strike their final pose, Eagly comes down. As he's dancing, he's doing the inhale, and he realizes he's off, so he steps forward and keeps like that little thing. I've seen it 3 times, and I laugh out loud every time. He's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. I can't. So they're patching him up in episode 2, and the Steve Agee, the bearded dude who was from Suicide Squad with the operatives, is sewing up his wounds, and he's telling Peacemaker how much he sucks and how much he would rather be anybody else. And he goes, I'd rather you be Batmite. And he's like, who's Batmite? He goes, you know, the interdimensional imp that stands Batman? That's right. And I was like, holy shit, they just mentioned Batmite? Like that alone made me so excited for this show. I'm like, because you know that Doom Patrol, it's its own pocket. Even the Doom Patrol that showed up in Titans is not the same Doom Patrol that's in the series. So they're clearly in their own pocket. So what they do is only going to be for them. the fact that this is clearly DCEU and they're mentioning like Batmite, they brought in Judo Master. They have Peacemaker and Vigilante hooked up with the wife of the dude that was in the apartment when he was escaping, and I was looking at it and like, did they both have sex in her? Holy shit! I mean, this is the ultimate tag team for a superhero team up. That they've teamed up in a way that I don't think anything I've seen two superheroes team up before. I mean, I was a fan of the whole situation. This is great. This is why this show's made me laugh so much. The music, the comedy, the level of like threat is real. Like there's no part of the danger that you think, oh, this doesn't matter. Everyone clearly, they may be silly, they may be goofy, but like when he gets stabbed, he's bleeding. He needs to get sewed up afterwards. He's not like, I can take it. When he keeps falling down his arm, you hear it like cracking each time. You know it's gonna be a part where it's gonna be like it's probably like dislocate, and he's gonna just limp around with a fucked up arm for an episode when he clearly needs two arms. Like they're setting all these things up a little bit, so there are stakes to it. This is my favorite DC show.
What reminds me of, like, this was exactly the kind of the show the Tick should have been, particularly on Amazon Prime, right? It just kind of out there, outrageous but makes sense, funny, raunchy, and the whole watching like this is almost like the Tick, like Bite Mine, those are the characters that keep mentioning, the little Chinese fighter. I mean, it's just. Yeah, dude, it's just straight out of the Tick, right? I love the animated series, and I was like, man, I'm thinking this is what this show is, and that's great, right? I'm with you, man. I enjoyed it a lot, man. I can't say I'm surprised, but I guess I am. But I mean, it's James Gunn. I mean, good for him, right?
I mean, every episode, to me, if you had to rank it, every episode is like at least an 8.5 minimum. Like that's how solid.
And it's in the vein, of course. If you like the Suicide Squad, you're gonna like this without question, right? It's in the same vein. The humor is the same. Absolutely. Obviously, it's over the top action, all that ridiculousness that he makes work.
We were so scared. We were so scared that like we wonder if they're gonna curb James Gunn on TV as opposed to, and they like just do James everything Gunn, and it's nailing
his sensibilities are more towards what DC will allow him to do. So I'm glad he's staying with them. We talked about the show coming out, whatever show that is. Hell yeah, right?
Well, I'll tell you this: if you notice, when they're showing in the intro credits or in the big dance number, they show the executive producers are James Gunn and John Cena. So this is a collaborative effort by both of them. And I like, if you want to make me like you, show me that you're so into a project, you're putting your money where your mouth is, because like, no, I want it to be as good as you want it to be, and we're gonna do. Like, I'm now a John Cena fan. Like, I liked him before.
I said, you're right. I wasn't a big fan. It was okay, but Peacemaker was like, okay, this is the best I've seen John Cena. Not that he's a great actor, but I'm saying characters.
Right, you're absolutely right.
Can he carry a show? Right, that's because even he was not sidekick, but he was a supporting character in Suicide Squad. He wasn't the lead. I wasn't the lead for the most part. So yeah, now he's the lead. You know, can he carry his own show? How's this going? And so far it's working. But this and it's James Gunn.
I will say there's one thing. There's one thing that I noticed, and you know, I when I saw it, I go, oh, they kind of Boba Fetted this, which is they took the character and they lessened him a little bit for dramatic effect, which is when he didn't want to pull the trigger on killing the family, because the Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad would have made those shots like it was nobody's business.
I'm sure they'll explore it, but yes, you're right. There's something going on.
Maybe it's because there were children involved.
I think he's looking at stuff in a different light, and they should have probably reinforced that more in the first few episodes. So I'm with you there. I agree with you. That was my biggest complaint. If any complaint was that, right? Character development. Yeah, if you're gonna soften him,
right?
Okay, why? Or give us a little bit more.
Give us a reason why, like upfront. Like make it PTSD, make it trigger
something
a memory,
is that
something that's out there.
Oh, you know, like I don't want to be this guy. You know, I'm sure it will be.
I love the friendship that they're establishing between Vigilante and Peacemaker. They're just two giant 12-year-olds who want to kick ass in the name of America good. You know, and that's it. Like when they're throwing like the dynamite at each other in the woods, like. That was, but like, you know, I completely understand that when you're 12, when you're 30 and it's lethal, it's hysterical and dangerous.
You know, when that scene where Cena can't, you know, he's reluctant to shoot, and Vigilante's like, I got it, bam, bam, and he kills like.
no, it wasn't just it was really sweet. He's like, hey man, don't worry, I got this. And he takes a shot. He's like
no hesitation,
okay,
kids. I mean,
cool,
like that.
No, very calm, very peaceful. There's no question about morality. It is a very interesting kind of silly dynamic
you
friendship.
mentioned Kick-Ass, and that takes meet Kick-Ass is what this is. Yeah,
this
is exactly
I take meets Kick-Ass,
and that's
absolutely.
a good thing. That's a great thing. If you're fans of both, that's a great thing.
That is a great thing. That is a good marriage of two things I didn't know I wanted that I absolutely want. You're absolutely right.
I'm not going as far as to say it's the best DC show yet, because there's only been 3 episodes, right? We can get Titan here for all we know.
Oh my God! If we get Titan, I will lose my fucking mind.
Right, but I mean, so
can't handle this.
I'm just saying. So if it continues and ends well.
If the 4th episode is as good as the first 3, then I'm set. Now you made me scared. I'm pulling back to 90. I'm 90%. But if the 4th episode is as good as these 3, then I'm 100%.
I mean, if the show ends up being as good as it starts and ends the same way, then I could definitely make a case it's the best. But it's still Doom Patrol's giving us 3 seasons, right? 3. Yeah. So
listen, Doom Patrol is great.
They've been consistent. I mean, I need 1 3 episode. That's all I'm saying.
Overall, like if we're gonna be very honest, I still think Doom Patrol is the best show that they had because of longevity. But if this season of Peacemaker keeps this level the whole way through, Doom Patrol better watch the fuck out,
which is a good thing. Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I really have my concern with this is, do we get a second season? I mean, Suicide Squad didn't do well, right? Let's be honest. And then box office, and there could be a lot of factors, but
it was mostly because of the pandemic.
It could be that. It's a lot of, I guess, a lot of factors. So I don't know. So I don't know how many people this show is going to get watched a lot. I'm not sure. I hope it does, and because I really. We'll see how it ends, but I'm sure we're gonna want a second. So I'm hoping it's just not a one and done thing. I'm hoping it's not. You know, it's a great start. There's no question about it. We're not gonna get Titan, but again, I just want to throw it out there because it's possible. It's possible.
I hope not.
You know, look, at the end of the day, just be better than Eternals. It's the bar is down here. That's all you gotta do. Just be better than the Eternals. And so far, it's way better. But even the 4th one drops a little bit. Stay above that Mendoza line. Stay above the Eternals.
I think everyone... And here's the thing. Eternals' two biggest flaws was length and no lack of... a complete lack of a focal point character. So as long as you make your shows short... and have a focus, you're better than Eternals. You're already winning. So that's
by far. This isn't just
absolutely.
But I can't wait to the next episode. I'm excited. I wish we would get more. I mean, the weekend thing is cool, you know, and that's good because the Mandalorian sucked. This is I think takes a dip. Mandalorian. I'm sorry, Boba Fett. This will be like the palate cleanser, right? Out of like Titans and Doom was right where we saw Titans.
Sure. Oh yeah, you remember that?
And then we got Doom Patrol kind of bringing us back up again.
See, I remember Doom Patrol saved many a bad experience. Where I was like, God, why don't I watch it? Okay, Doom Patrol. Okay,
this is a good safety net, if you will. So Boba Fett, absolutely. Falters or whatever. Robert Rodriguez does the rest episodes. God forbid. Okay, that's fine. You soak for a little bit, and then next morning, Peacemaker, and it will bring you right back up again. You're right as rain, as the Oracle once said. So, but looking forward to it. So great start. Yeah, good for James Gunn, man. Good, and a very entertaining show. I highly recommend. So
I am a fan. I'm becoming a fan. I'm officially a fan. I'm a little bit of a hesitant fan now because of what you told me. They made me think about the 3 episodes. But if that 4th episode is as good as this, I'm 100% fan.
It just has to be good.
But you should if you haven't watched it yet, absolutely watch it. It is so worth it. And they're really short episodes. It's like 40 minutes, but you're really getting about 30 minutes and then 10 minutes of credits. So they're great, compact.
Did you see there's after credit scenes in every episode, by the way?
Oh yeah, and I mean, and with the best part is the after credit scene is not a new scene; it's the scene you saw before, but just a little extended.
Yeah, something you didn't see, or something else.
And that's what makes it such a great after credit scene.
Yeah, really cool.
It's just a little bit more of a scene you didn't see that they just edited out. And I'm like, God, I don't know if it was planned to be like that, but they work so great.
No, it's
so to me personally, my favorite after credit scene has been episode 2 when the couple is picking out the photo lineup of who they said came into their apartment. That was great.
And you hear
that was my favorite of the 3.
That was pretty. That was pretty. That was good. It's a great callback to what they. As I'm saying, it's well written. That's a good set of jokes.
It's well written. Yeah, that's right.
So kudos. I can't wait. I'm excited. But that being said, and this is what I like to end off on a high note.
Right. On a high note. This is exactly, it was totally such a high note. And guys, that has been the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nerdsplaining. We appreciate you guys here every week tuning in. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you didn't like. Let us know what we should be talking about. Let us know what we should be looking at. And of course, we want to hear from you. Don't forget, you can follow us on the social medias on both Instagram at NerdsplainingPod or on Twitter, Nerdsplaining_. Don't forget, you can check out on YouTube the Latin Nerd News channel where Jose does shows such as The Watchers. We talks about all the shows, even comic book shows, all the shows that are out for you to watch right now, what's good and what's bad. You can also check out all the Nerdsplaining episodes here as well. If you want to check out all the original audio episodes, check us out at ericdasilva.com. That is my website. You can check out all the original Nerdsplaining audio episodes we did. And of course, while you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive, available on all the formats. It is a fun time had by all. And guys, don't forget if you to click like and subscribe on the YouTube thing because it helps the algorithm and blah blah blah. We don't want to have day jobs. We want to do this more often. So keep this up and we can keep you guys updated with all the fun nerdy stuff that's out there. Guys, once again, my name's been Eric Silva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Peace.